So here's a few tips about getting into competitive Tooth and Tail. I hope that by the end of this video you have a better understanding of some basic competitive game mechanics and improving your gameplay. The first thing you need to know is that one of the most important aspects of Tooth and Tail is scouting. Scouting is your bread and butter. You need to be constantly scouting. So here's how you do it. Once the match starts, the first thing you need to do is to immediately queue up a farm and go find your opponent on the map. Now, your opponent's location will mostly be on the opposite side of the map from where you spawned, so just take a quick glance at the minimap and go towards that general direction. And just keep in mind that sometimes your opponent's base might not be exactly in the opposite direction, so if you can find it at first, just explore the other area. Now that you know where your opponent is, look at the number of farms of his base and make sure he also queued up a farm. If you did, you should get ready to burrow back to your base and queue up another farm, because remember, one farm costs 60 food, so use that food counter on the bottom of your screen as a timer that will tell you when to come back to the base and queue up another farm. Then, go scout again. You can uncover a little bit more of the map, but ultimately always go check what your opponent is doing before you queue up more farms. Keep an eye on his number of farms and make sure it matches yours. Note that if you have more than 60 food at the beginning of the game, you're wasting resources and running behind on economy, so don't let this happen. Keep scouting, make sure that everybody has 8 farms, and you're pretty much good to go from here. But not every game is like that, so let's see a few different examples. You start the game and queue up your farm as usual, but when you find your opponent, you only see 1, 2, 3, 4 farms instead of the usual 5. This can mean that either your opponent is new to the game and doesn't know what to do, or he's trying to attack it with moles. A mole warren, just like a farm, also costs 60 food and it can be built anywhere on the map. So if you're scouting and your opponent's farm number doesn't add up, he's probably hiding something. So burrow back and try to find where those moles are, sell some farms if needed, and get some units to defend your base. Another situation that you commonly see is that instead of building more farms, your opponent has built a tier 1 warren. So in this situation, what you want to do is to burrow back to your base, sell a farm if needed, and get a warren for yourself. Because as you can see in this example right here, with only 2 squirrels and the right microing and the right positioning, you can kill a pig. So make sure you have units to defend yourself. Now for the final example of this video, I want to talk about fakeouts, and you understand even more why it's so important to be constantly scouting your opponent. So the game begins as normal, I queue up a farm and go find my opponent on the map. I find his base, I see that the number of farms are okay, and I go back to get my own farms. I queue up more farms and go scout him again, but when I get back to his base, I see that he sold all of his farms, and he's certainly trying to attack me from somewhere. So I immediately come back, I sell my building farms and check that little high ground, there he is, and then get some units to defend my base. Note that I'm building the warrens behind the pigs so they can protect them from the moles. If his moles destroy my warrens, it's game over. Now I'm just standing here to make sure he's really going to attack me or give up and sell everything. Now since he's actually attacking, I focus fire here so that the pigs will shoot only this mole and concentrate the damage. Now my units are ready and I can properly stop the attack. I keep the focus fire until I kill everything and then go after the mole warrens. He smartly sells all of them and try to burrow back to his base. However, I target my squirrels at his commander to deny his burrowing and delay his return as much as possible, because while he's losing time trying to go back to his base, I'm building units and he's not. This creates a tiny window for a possible counterattack, and since I feel like I have enough units and the travel distance is fairly short, I decide to give it a go. Now lucky for me, instead of building warrens, he decided to build turrets. One of them is still building, which I can kill off easily, and the other one is completely out of range. If those were tier 1 warrens, sure, he would still lose a pig or 2, but he would have been still able to stop my attack and stay in the game. So this is the very basic of Tooth and Tail scouting. I hope that you understand a little bit more of the game now and can put it to good use. See ya!